another edition of the Bullheaded Podcast. I'm your host, per usual, Sean Tyson, here with Zoo and Peebush. How you guys doing?
Doing well, man. I'm in the beautiful state that our host Sean comes from, man. South Carolina for the week. Different cities, obviously, but it's beautiful to get away from the 35-degree Chicago weather and be out in 80-degree weather, man. Absolutely pristine, even if I'm working most of the week. So, yeah, man, obviously got a college basketball to talk about, man. It's been a hell of a ride. It went like that, too. I don't know about you guys, but it flew by.
Oh,
sure.
March Madness flew by, man. But looking at my bracket, man, people complain about bracket busted. Boo-hoo. And I called it those UConn Huskies, baby. That's what I'm telling you, man. UConn Huskies, baby. That's what I'm saying, man. Best team in the tournament. Dominated every matchup. Been wiping the floors, man. People are like, oh, didn't see UConn. Man, stop it. UConn Huskies all the way, man. Multiple pro players. Got the lead NBA guard along with multiple NBA talent, man. Blue blood program, man. AP poll trend, baby. We back, baby. We back, baby. They're ready to win it all, man. No doubt about it. Outside of injuries, that is the only way I could see this UConn Huskies going down. But outside of that, they're getting it done, man. They're getting that chip, baby. They're getting that chip.
Miami's pretty good, man.
Miami, I will say, showed a lot of grit, but I almost feel like Texas had that. They got ice cold, and that's I don't even know, last 8-9 minutes. I don't want to say they choked, but they just could not buy a basket, and Miami capitalized. And respect to Miami, because I remember at the beginning of the beginning of the tournament, I was just like, they're kind of they got a lot of wins in the ACC, but how good is the ACC? But they fought and they beat some pretty good teams. So I wanted to ask the guys their thoughts on the Final Four. As you can see, Zoo's very high on UConn. And shout out to UConn's defense in that second half against Gonzaga. Like, that was just a clinic. Clinic. Like, and listen, Gonzaga, much respect. There's no disrespect when I say this, but the reputation of the Zags continues to, I guess, show itself and how they just end up not getting to the championship game and actually winning it, but they just kind of ran into a buzzsaw with UConn. So I wanted to ask the guys, is there any other team other than UConn that they could see maybe getting to the championship game or actually winning the championship game? And Peebush, I'm going to start with you.
I mean, look, I got UConn in the national championship game too. Not saying I followed Zoos. I had my own reasons to put them in there. I thought that they were just the most undervalued on a seed basis of any team. And, UCLA, bit of a cute story, man, in my opinion. Obviously had the injuries to deal with. Gonzaga, number one offense in the country, absolutely getting manhandled. Man, UConn has not had a winning margin of less than 15 points in this tournament, and that was against St. Mary's. Every other game, 23 points or more as a winning differential, man. Absolutely ridiculous. They're still shooting well over 40% from three as a team. This Jordan Hawkins kid, I'm sure we'll talk about him later, looking like, in my opinion, Ray Allen shooting out of a phone book on some of those threes, going 6 for 10 against Gonzaga. Absolutely impeccable performance from him, man. Sunogo, beast down low. But I do think that, I would actually really like to see them play Miami in the championship game. But unfortunately, we got to watch them play in the Final Four because Miami, they have some legit wing players, man. I think, what was his name? Obviously, they got Isaiah Wong, ACC Player of the Year. Pretty solid at making his own shot, too. I think 6'4", 185, bit undersized, but he's outplayed a lot of guards in this tournament, man. He outplayed the Houston guards. He outplayed Jalen Hood-Schifino, our guy from Indiana. Sasser being one of those. Those are two potential NBA lottery guys, in the near future. And Isaiah Wong, man, even in his undersize, was able to create his own shots. So, that's a game I'm looking at. Obviously, I think that will be the more competitive of the two games. But at the same time, man, we got two underdogs. We got FAU and San Diego State, who are teams that are taking advantage of the blue bloods, who usually have 3 to 4, 5 stars on their team, not really coming out to play this year, man. So San Diego State, their defense has very much impressed me on the perimeter and interior. I think they held, let me pull up the stats right here. They held Alabama to 11% from three. And then not only that, they did it again, exactly 11% for three for Creighton the next game, man. So they force you to take tough shots. They're going to be physical with you down low. They got that kid, what's his name? Mensah, their beast on man. He's averaging a couple blocks a game. And, they have a decent guard play. Darion Trammell, pretty solid for them. I think that they'll be the one to make the championship game. You know, FAU. You want to talk about a cute story? Zoo? They are the epitome of a cute story. All right, but props to them, man. And to be honest, I think a lot of people would like to see, maybe not you, Zoo, but FAU versus Miami. They're right next to each other when it comes to state schools. So that would be pretty
I-95
impressive.
battle.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Floridians battling it out, but we all know Zoo wants to see UConn, San Diego State. That's probably what I think is going to end up being the matchup. It's kind of an underwhelming end to the tournament, but at the same time, we're going to see outside of UConn, you know, and they haven't even won in what, this would be 9 years anniversary, I think.
2014, man. That was the last time they won a championship.
Boatwright Napier team. Yeah, man. You know, either way, we're seeing a new winner for nearly a decade. And obviously these other three teams haven't nearly been this far in a very long time. I think Jim Larinaga was there, you know, with George Mason back in 06 in the Final Four. But anybody affiliated with this team, coached on this team, on any of those other three have not been anywhere near this Final Four. So it's kind of cool to see, but I do think UConn is the heavy favorite to win this whole thing, unless Miami gets hot, man. Because Texas was a hot team, and I think we can all agree that Texas was a pretty easy choice to bet on, in my opinion, for a lot of people. And Miami showed them, hey, don't count us out, man. So you better hope Sanogo doesn't get injured, dude. That's all I'm saying.
Man, stop. Just don't even speak that into existence, man. That ain't happening, man. That grown man-child in the post will stay healthy and dominate this last two games, man, before he goes to the NBA. I'm saying it right now. He's going to go be a pro basketball player, man. Great defensive player, as well as a good post player. But for me, man, those UConn Huskies, man, I ain't hopping off the bandwagon I started a couple weeks ago, baby. The UConn Huskies. What I say, right now we're looking at the Final Four teams. FAU, 9th seed. Legit. People had them lose in the first round. Like, majority of brackets had them in the first round. So they're the George Mason this year. They're the Loyola Chicago, man. Bravo to you. Cute story. St. Peter's. Those cute stories, man. They real cute, man. They real cute. But you just say, okay, you ain't wiping that up. It's just a real cute story. But you're like, okay, now you're going to lose now. Now you're going to lose. But if they make it to the finals, I would be shocked. Because you know why?
San Diego State?
Yeah, I would be shocked if FAU makes it to the finals. Because 9th seed's making the finals, that's just unprecedented. That is legitimately just unprecedented. Like, as far as the low seed.
Last time UConn won?
Yeah, UConn was like 7.
An 8 or 9.
Yeah, they were a low. Oh, yeah, they were a super low seed too. So, like, it's be unprecedented since, like, the UConn Huskies and, like, Butler making those runs as far as low seeds making it to the championship game. So, if they do it, bravo to them. Give them all the props, man. Coming from a small little division over there, man. No one knows what it is, man. Good for them. But those Huskies, baby. I'm telling you, man. First of all, I gotta mention the trend again, man. AP poll is gonna still say undefeated after this year, man. The Week 5 predictor, top 12, man. It's still alive. If you look at the top 12, the only remaining team left, the UConn Huskies, man. Number 1. So that gives me even more confidence based on 20 years of history, man. 20 years of history. You look at FAU. They got 0 pros. I'm sorry, man. They're a cute story with 0 pros, man. Like, people, I feel like NBA scouts are like, what's this FAU, man? They probably don't even go to their games, man. Like, seriously, like, FAU, like, the talent, it's just not there. Like, San Diego State, man, good for them. Got a little defense, man. Okay. Cute. Offense wins. And to beat a team like the UConn Huskies, who's absolutely blitzing people in the second half. Like, first half, it's always like, it's like a back and forth. It's like pretty 50-50. You're watching the game. I'm like, this is a pretty solid game. Second half happens. Flip the switch, man. I was like, after 3 minutes, it's a 10-point game. It's a 15-point game.
And then they hold it.
I'm just sitting back and relaxing, man. I was real nervous. I was like, Gonzaga, man. Okay, they beat a UCLA team. They got an elite offense, dropping 80-plus points. Maybe they're going to get
Timmy's been in college for 8
years. Drew Timmy's a beast, man. Woo, he's a beast.
The ageless wonder.
But then he met my boy Sanogo in the post, man. And they don't grow people like Sanogo, man. Like not every team has a Sanogo on their roster. 250, 260, built like a monster truck, man. So Drew Timmy met his match in the post. And obviously, without Drew Timmy getting into foul trouble, barbecue chicken, man. When that brother went to the bench, it was over. It was straight up over, man. He's their best player. They didn't have a lead guard, obviously. Because this Gonzaga team, I don't even think he's one of the better Gonzaga teams in the last, 5 to 6 years. Obviously the Jalen Suggs team. And I don't even think the team before that was better than this Drew Timmy-led team with a bunch of, all right players, man. Nothing too crazy, man. So Gonzaga drop into UConn Huskies, man. And I got a lot riding on this right now, man. I got a futures bet I made before the tournament, man. Plus 2,200, man. I need that to hit, man. I need a dub. I got my work bracket right now. I'm number 2 right now in the work bracket. If they get the dub next game, they don't even need to win the championship. I come in first.
That's what I need.
I come in first place, baby, out of 120 plus brackets, baby. 120 plus brackets, baby. What?
You haven't spoken anything about Miami, man. I feel like you're a little bit nervous about this Miami team, but you're just not trying to speak it into existence.
No. Okay, I haven't mentioned Miami because I do like the roster, man.
Mm-hmm.
Wong is nice.
Wong, Jordan Miller.
He's nice.
Watching him play, because I was watching him play, I'm like, oh, this Wong guy, he looked pretty nice, man. He got like NBA skill set, like some of his jump shots. Like usually in college basketball, you get like the easy look, like passing around, get the open look, man. He was going like ISO, man, little post moves, little fadeaway, very NBA level moves. I'm like, this guy looking like an NBA player. Go to NBA draft on that. This guy's a projected second rounder. I'm like, okay, it makes sense now. Like, it makes sense. This guy's skill set could be like a backup guard in the NBA based on he's defensive wise. You saying he's undersized?
Yeah, he's undersized. Oh, it's like he's only 180 at 6'4". I mean, that's.
I don't know. I think lengthwise he looked like pretty big. So like, I don't really care.
Weight.
Yeah, I don't really care about weight. I care about length. And lengthwise, defensive-wise, he looked like he could play his defense, man. And that dude got that mid-range game, man. He took over. He took over in the final couple minutes, man. Legit, he just like, yo, get out the way, man. Like he had one shot where he got with the little Jordan shove, man. Even though the shot went in, he had to move on the baseline, little fadeaway jump shot. Like he hit some tough shots when nobody on. And he had that nice oop pass to his big for the and one. So I'm like, this dude was straight up balling. He got me a little nervous, man. Like he a nice player. Miami obviously beating my IU Hoosiers. Watching that game, they freaking massacred the Hoosiers. Even though I thought the Hoosiers team was actually one of the better teams I've seen in the last couple of years, man. But they massacred them. Beating Texas, man, a good defense. Even though a lot of good athletes, but offensively, not the greatest of talents, man. Nothing on them surprised me. Them offensively, man. Nobody on them. Nah.
Marcus Carr, come on.
Nah.
Hunter? No.
I remember when I was doing my due diligence, just how many NBA players I got right here. A big fat Oreo cookie, man, a donut, man. Just zero. There's 0 NBA players, man. So I had to knock them off my list. And they got whooped the floor because they don't have no ball handler or true perennial scoring option to take over that game because it was right there for the taking. The defense did their job, man. They bothered Miami. Like, they did their job. Like, they didn't play a really bad game of, like, turning the ball over, or they didn't really kill themselves with stupid plays. It was just Miami hit every free throw. They legitimately hit every free throw.
32 free throws, man. They just attacked Texas. Yeah. And they had 23 personal fouls.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's where UConn's going to have trouble is – they have to stay out of foul trouble, and that's a Sunogo problem.
No.
I'm not saying they're going to lose, but I'm saying that's something they have to look out for because this Miami team will attack you and also threaten you from the three-point line.
So you know what the great thing about UConn is, man? You got Sunogo as the center, man, the big guy being the rim protector and defensive force. They got a 7'2" guy on the bench who is mobile. Like that dude running, he looks like a gazelle, man. He runs real fast for a 7'2" guy. He is an agile dude. And for like a rim protector, man, like a Rafe LaFrance type dude, man, off the bench. That is great. They got 2 bigs as anchors, man. Yeah. Don't know the brother's name, but that dude is athletic for a 7'2".
He might actually go to the draft, actually.
Because he could be like
could probably get left first round.
Yeah, he is like a good, like mobile. He's not one of those bigs who's stuck in quicksand, man. He got real legs.
Might be Walker Kessler Jr.
Tony Bradley? No, I'm just
kidding. Oh, stop. I'm thinking that brother. I'm thinking that brother over Tony Bradley any day of the week, man. Are you kidding me? That brother can play some defense.
He decommitted from Syracuse to go to UConn too, knowing wholeheartedly that he was going to be a backup. That's impressive.
That's interesting. He wanted to go to a winning program, man. He's in line right now because he's a starting big coming off the bench. That even if you mentioned Sunogo get some foul issue, man, put the big fella in, man. The 7'2" guy, rim protecting, and obviously Hawkins, my boy, man. I call him Jordan Poole. Man. I call him Jordan Poole, man. The way he shoots the basketball, man. He gets on those hot streaks, man. Sometimes he takes some tough shots, little dumb shots, but he's a flat out pure shooter, man. He's a pure shooter, and I got to shout out Sunogo's offensive game, but his passing game, man.
Yeah.
Him in the post is beautiful, man, because he looks around, little Jokic-esque, man, like a little cutter down low. There's always a dude, that one cutter, man, he always goes down, the guy with the fro, man, every time a little dunk, man. That brother cannot shoot at all. He reminds a little of Aaron Gordon, man, except Aaron Gordon's a way better shooter.
Andre Jackson?
Yeah, Andre Jackson. That brother, they give him
He's
so
Draymond,
much space.
Man.
They give him Westbrook space, man. Westbrook space. They don't guard him at all. His jump shot is ugly, but he's a really good cutter.
10 assists?
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, 10 assists,
man. Really good
6
cutter.
offensive boards.
Yeah, I was going to shout his activity on the glass for being that athlete glue type player. He's like the nice like glue role player that he plays his role to perfection because he ain't no go-to scorer. He's the role player, defender, rebounder, hustle guy, man. So I feel like this team, passing ability, the ability to get beautiful open shots, they just make the game look so easy, man. It's so easy, man. Like, just no doubt in my mind the Huskies are getting it done, man. There's no doubt in my mind.
Just a couple of stats. These odds were yesterday, and this is via CBS. UConn is minus 125, and FAU is plus 600. So
win it all.
If you just want to look at a David and Goliath. What I will say, though, that may play a factor, I think they're in Houston, right? Pretty sure.
Yep.
Where they're playing the Final Four. I do know that anytime there's these domes and it's that whole depth perception and shooting in those type of domes, shooting does get kind of wonky. Now, shooters are always going to shoot and shooters are always going to be great anywhere. But I have seen like certain teams in different Final Four settings in those domes with and they talk about it all the time, like the perception is off. Your shooters sometimes that are, maybe shooting at a decent clip may fall off a cliff if they're having to shoot. Like I said, if you're a dead-eye shooter, you're going to still shoot. You may just not shoot the best, but you're still going to shoot because you can shoot. But that's just something to keep in mind. But what I'm rooting for is FAU versus UConn because Kansas State was the team after watching over the weekend and watched them beat a couple other teams and their point guard. Like I was rooting for them because of just the story. But once FAU came and ruined that and then they mocked them in their locker room post game, which was pretty funny. Like was like, okay, I kind of want to see FAU at least get to the championship game.
Cool.
And I do want it to be against UConn because I know a lot of people are rooting for FAU versus Miami because of, the rivalry within Miami or Florida and all that type of stuff. But I just want to see the UConn, which I was saying before the pod, like they are looked at as a blue blood and should be looked at as a blue blood versus FAU, who is, I was reading a story on their coach. He signed the contract to go there and didn't even like view the campus. And then when he got there, they had like bare minimum facilities. And he was like regretting his decision of actually signing the contract to coach FAU. And then now he's in the Final Four. So to me, that kind of, when I was reading it, I was thinking like, oh yeah, if he gets an offer, he's out of there. I don't care if they win a championship or not. Like, I think he's out of there. Like that quote and the quotes in that story kind of signaled like, no, he's not going to build at FAU. He's going to find the next best job. But, FAU, I will be interested because I don't know who you could pinpoint as they're like, oh yeah, he's the bona fide scorer. He's the guy that's like, yeah, he's going to get the buckets for them. I just think they play great as a team. And, UConn, the one thing about them too also is they're a big team. Like, I think their smallest guy is maybe 6'5", 6'4", maybe. 6'4", yeah. Like, they're a big team. And then when you got the center coming off who's 7'2", coming off the bench, they just present a lot of problems just defensively. And they kind of bared out when Gonzaga and Arkansas, like, they just could not get buckets when they wanted to. It was like vice grip. It wasn't like, oh, they're missing shots. Like, no, this is good defense and they're missing shots. So just personally, that's who I'm rooting for and who I want to get into the championship game, FAU versus UConn. But I wanted to ask you guys also, do you guys like this? Like how there's just these, I know UConn's a blue blood, but like how it's just UConn and a bunch of misfit toys. Because the chances of us seeing the rest of these teams in the, like, let's just say this, annually being in these Sweet 16, I don't like Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four. They're not going to be here probably again. So, like, do you guys like this, or do you like, traditional blue bloods being in the Final Four, or at least have?
I don't like one. Like everybody, the chalk pick was right. Bama, Houston. Okay.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see I think Bama, UConn would have been a great game.
That's what I wanted to see.
That was my pick. That was my pick. And like I wanted to see that, not just because I picked it, but I thought it was the two most interesting teams heading into the tournament, right? That was not Houston, everybody, if you were on Purdue's bandwagon, I know we've shit on them a lot on this podcast, even though, yes, maybe because I went to Indiana, but we all knew that they were just overrated, right? Besides, if you could stop Zach Edey or force him to only be the one to take shots, you were going to beat them. They never really believed in Arizona. I just feel like a lot of the blue bloods that we were used to
this year
either weren't in the tournament this year, or they were severely underperforming, or maybe just were starting to get their coattails underneath them, like Kentucky and Duke towards the end of the season, and it just wasn't enough. They just didn't have enough in the tank to do it. I would say that I like a good 3 seed to 5 seed matchup. But I just don't like the San Diego State FAU, man. I just don't like that side. I don't mind the UConn Miami. I think that's actually a pretty good matchup for the Final Four. It's just that if only they were on opposing sides of the Final Four, I think that would create for a much more interesting championship game. So I don't mind how it is. I just think that it was unfortunate in how it ended up playing out. And no disrespect to FAU and San Diego State. They both played their asses off throughout the tournament, right? But I just think it's not as exciting of a game, and who knows if one of those two upsets and wins it all, I'll retract all my words, man. And I know Zoo just ended up crying in a corner because he lost $110 potentially. So it's just
100.
So to answer your question, Sean, in short, I don't mind it. I just think that, and there's obviously no way to control it. We don't want this to be controlled, right? We want them to be able to play out, no rigging. But I just think it's unfortunate that it kind of just played out that way on the top side of the region. So.
Yeah, not gonna lie, man. San Diego State, man. I don't care to watch them, man. I just don't care to watch them. I barely watch them.
Spurs, man.
Exactly, man. I just don't care to watch them. I barely watch any of their March Madness games. None of their games were that interesting except for one. I'm like, okay, whatever. San Diego State, man. Good for you. Final Four appearance. Haven't done that, I feel like ever. So good for them. FAU, I like having one Cinderella story in the Final Four. I always enjoy that story. I always know how it's going to end. They're going to lose their next game, man. So I enjoy that story for what it is, man. Having a blue blood, I love having at least 2 blue bloods, 2 elite teams. And hopefully at the end they can face up. Obviously in this, we only got 1 elite team in UConn. And all the number 1, 2, and 3 seeds fell off, even though this year, as you said, is one of those crazy years that there were no team that was just completely dominant. If you talk about programs like Bama, Houston, Purdue, these just are not well-established basketball programs that have been dominant for the last couple of years, man. It's been the year of just random. It's a year of randomness, completely randomness. And all the blue bloods, Duke, Kentucky, fell in the second round. All of them. UNC couldn't even make
Kansas
the tournament.
State would have been good. Kansas State would have been good.
Yeah, Kansas State, though, obviously the 5'8" point guard, man, put on an absolute show, man.
Yeah,
19 assists, man, with the historical game.
Dude, Damon Stoudemire,
dude was trying to pull pretty much a Kemba Walker run. That's what he was trying to do, a Shabazz Napier run. So he was trying to put his team on his back, but he couldn't get it done. He would have been great to watch in the Final Four, but FAU, I enjoy. San Diego State, whatever. I'm hoping they lose, man. I'm rooting for FAU to make it to the finals, so we kind of come up there. I'm rooting for the David versus Goliath story, and then too bad.
David won that.
Goliath is going to win this story, man. This ain't the Bible, baby. Goliath going to win this story when UConn has an ass whooping on FAU, man. This ain't biblical, baby. So that's going to end that beautiful story. So UConn, Miami, man, I'm they got the job done for me, man. I was rooting for them hard yesterday, man. Everybody in my work bracket had Texas going to the championship game. So when Texas lost,
jubilation,
guaranteed money, baby. Legit, if Texas would have won, I would have got 0. I would not have placed top 3 in my work league. But after all those Texas brackets, donut, baby. It's baby. UConn Huskies time. So I rooted for them to get it done. They got it done. I was quite shocked. Because Texas was in control of that whole game. I was raging real hard. I was just Jesus Christ. Miami just can't get a bucket right now. But they took over in the second half. I rooted for my boy Wong. But now
he's so excited. I think he just muted himself. I don't. He's so excited.
Oh man! Speaking the gospel, and I got muted for a second, man. But those Huskies are gonna get it done, boys. Oh man, I foresaw it, And 2 games got to make me look like a prophet, man. Just 2 more games, man. Don't make me look like a fool if they lose to Miami, man. Okay, at least make it to the championship. Yeah. I haven't been this confident about a team since the Gonzaga Bulldogs, which let me down in the championship game of Jalen Suggs losing to that Baylor team. But I'm still super confident. These are like some of the one, but this run has been hella impressive. Like that Zaga team took a buzzer beater to get in. Like, this is just an ass whooping.
Yeah, they're
straight up. Just no doubt. There's no doubt this team was just better. And the teams that beat like Arkansas, like had 2 pros, Sean Sleeper Pig. I also like that roster, like with the multiple guards, man. But it was an ass whooping, man. Yeah. Like, it wasn't even competitive. I was watching, like, God,
Arkansas and Gonzaga. Oof.
Yeah, Gonzaga. Like, the games were just legit. They were great for UConn Huskies fans, but if you were a casual NCAA basketball fan, try to enjoy a game, you just went home and you just went to bed because the game was over. So
not you, Zoo. You stayed up and watched the whole thing.
Oh, I had to say it. I was watching with the biggest smile on my face. I was like, I knew it, baby. Those Huskies.
Sorry, let me ask you this, Zoo. Who from that team is a lock for the NBA?
Oh.
Besides Sonogo, you mentioned
great transition. I think we all know, but.
Oh, man. We're talking about my boy Hawkins, man. I'm telling you right now, he reminds me too much of Jordan Poole. Obviously, Jordan Poole right now is a more polished product before, obviously, like get in the NBA. The dude barely played. Obviously, he was on the Golden State Warriors, man. They were trying to win championship, not about developing young dudes. But like the polished Jordan Poole, I'm like, okay. That could be Mr. Hawkins himself, man. But the handles, he plays more like a traditional 2 guard. Like he's like curling around screens, man. He's running around, aka Ben Gordon, Ray Allen style, Rip Hamilton style. Like that's his role on the roster right now. He's a terrific shooter, beautiful touch, man. Good free throw shooter, man. Got a little dribble penetration game. Like, my goodness. I love having him as a spark plug off the bench, man. That 7th, 8th, 9th man off the bench, man. Hit the 3 ball. Good size, 6'4" combo guard, man. I'll take that guy in the late first round any day of the week, man.
Ochai Agbaji, man. That is exactly what he is doing.
Man, stop. Dude, he's a way better shooter than an Ochai, man.
No, that's fine. But, hey, dude, he can't, like, he's a spot-up guy. Like, you run him around the court. Stop. Dude, he is one of the lowest assist percentages in the NCAA tournament for starting shooting guards right now, which means he does not make his teammates better. It's 8.7%, man. That's pretty damn low for a solid guard that people are putting in the NBA. I agree. He's a first-round draft pick. Do I think he's going to be a pivotal point? I don't think there's any player in the Final Four right now that is pivotal enough to change any franchise. I think we can all agree there. Sonogo, nah. I mean, he's a big dude. This could be a solid backup center, maybe eventually. A quality starting center in the NBA. I don't know, man. This Andre Jackson guy, I swear to God, I think someone's going to take a chance on him. And he's going to end up being kind of like a Draymond, man. He's going to be, I mean, what's his name? Hummel, the coach for UConn, said he's the greatest leader he's ever coached, man. They did all the post-game interviews after they were winning. First one wasn't Sonogo. It wasn't Jordan Hawkins. They went to Andre Jackson, man. 10 assists, 6 offensive boards, runs up and down. He's got the motor. He plays hard. He's kind of like Joakim Noah for the Florida Gators back in the day, man. So I'm not saying he'll be a lottery pick. I don't think that's the case. I think right now he's projected early second round per draft net, maybe that 35, 36, pick in the draft. Solid. He'll be a good player. And I do think Jordan Hawkins, yes, he has more flashy offensive ability. But I think there's guys on that UConn team that could make another thing. Caravan, 6'8", shoots 40% from 3, man. He's a little slow athletically, but he's kind of a Ryan Anderson spot-up shooter kind of guy. And those guys end up having long NBA careers because they can just kind of camp in the corner, run off screens, hit some jump shots. I don't want to say Peja Stojakovic, that would be blasphemous, but, kind of that similar style of play. So, I think that I really think it's only from the Miami and UConn side, though. Maybe you could consider Isaiah Wong, maybe Jordan Miller. He had a hell of a game, 7 for 7, 13 for 13 from the free throw line as well. His dribble penetration was actually impressive, and he was actually more well-known for the Miami team as being an unbelievable defender at 6'7" on the perimeter. Kind of reminds me, Zoo, a little bit of OG Anunoby, man. Not a very consistent jump shot, but he attacks, and he's a great defender. Somebody's going to take a chance on him just because of his length alone. So I think a lot of these guys are early to mid-second rounders with Hawkins and potentially Andre Jackson creeping in, with Jordan Hawkins probably going around that 20 range, and then maybe Andre Jackson going very late first round, early second round. So I think there's opportunity for a lot of these guys, but it'll all be role player positions, man. That's what it is. Yeah. So no one's really impressed me enough to be a lock in a starting role.
Yeah, I agree with you on that Andre Jackson, because when you're a late draft pick, you're not going to get shots. You're going to have to play your role, hustle, play defense, and legit be the energy guy. So for a guy that's obviously not the greatest of shooters, he can make an impact on the basketball court by being a glue guy. And body-wise and the way he moves, I'm like, this guy, he's an athlete, man. He's an NBA quality athlete. Obviously, he doesn't have the skill set. Hopefully, if he gets a 3-point shot, okay, now we're talking a little.
Even a jumper, man.
Yeah, legit. We're talking about like a legit rotation player. But yeah, I totally agree on that glue type of guy, man. Like, obviously, he can prove a shot. Something like Derek White was sort of a similar type of dude. He's just like a role player, defensive energy guy. And then he got a little 3-point shot, and now he's a key cog in a Boston Celtics championship level team. So he's one of those guys that I feel like if he gets in the league, man, it's going to take a while for him to develop. Yeah. He got to develop. But given his athleticism and his energy level, that obviously his intangibles that you talked about, yeah, I can see him on the end of a bench, man. But then after that, make himself in a rotation based on the athleticism. So I like that pick.
Yeah.
I'm with you on.
Man. It was just it's the obvious pick.
Yeah, Hawkins is obvious guy that I think has the most NBA upside. Wong, I think he's a little older. He may be like 22. So like, you know how NBA guys are with
him and Miller are both 22, 23, I think.
The age thing is always, which I sometimes feel like is overrated, depending on like your skill, which you will do in the NBA. And if like, I remember, you know what conversation? I think Buddy Hill played for Oklahoma, but he was maybe a sophomore or junior. I'm not sure, but it was a lot of conversation about his age. They were like, well, he's maxed out, and it's just like, yeah, but he has a super elite skill, and that's shooting. Like, if you're maxed out at 23, 24, okay, but if you come in the league and can shoot really, really well, and it translates, like, who cares? Because shooters are always going to be at a premium. But I'm real interested in the UConn big. And this is only because, and I was joking before the pod, like, or I might have said it on the pod about like Walker Kessler. But like, I just watching the NBA, like in general, there's not a lot of bigs that are coordinated and it can play defense. Because that's what, unless you're Embiid or Jokic, which are rare. Like most bigs nowadays, you need a guy who's in that 7'2" range that can move a little bit, can block shots, and not even necessarily have to block shots, but alter shots. And that UConn kid, like, he can do that right now at a high level. So if you tell me, you know, if I don't even know if this is a thing they do in the NBA anymore, but you know how they say they do promises, like, yo, we promise you a spot in the first round if you declare. Like, if they're doing that and they say, hey, I don't know, X NBA team says I can get you at 26 as a promise. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at the kid if he left and then came in and developed, like, you know, how Walker, not saying, you know, Walker, because Walker Kessler, if you saw him, and I don't know where this kid was ranked coming out of high school, Walker Kessler was a high ranked recruit because he was actually at UNC before he went to Auburn, transferred to Auburn and like became the shot blocker he became. And now playing for the Utah Jazz is a really nice piece for their future. But, you know, if you could come in and be a shot blocker and develop your offensive game with, you know, if you're getting drafted in the late, you know, 20s, you're going to be on a contender most likely. I wouldn't mind going there unless he has aspirations to be a lottery pick. Then I would say come back. But it's all about what he wants to be. Because I mean, maybe if he comes back next year, he develops into a lottery pick. I don't know how great. I'm gonna be honest. I haven't watched a lot of that kid, but I don't know if he has the arsenal as an offensive player or the skill set to become a dominant offensive force to where he can maybe be pushed into the top 14 picks. But that'd be a guy I'd be like, I'm always under the impression, especially if like I was an NBA guy, like if I'm getting any first round promise, I'm gone. Like I don't really care for the lottery. Like unless you're telling me I'm gonna be a top 5 guy if I come back, and even then, injury. And I always feel like when they get more tape on you, they dissect your game even more. So it's just like just strike while the iron's hot. So let's just say he comes out in the next 2 games and UConn does win the championship, and he has like 2 double games. He probably will leave. Yep. He might leave. Which I'd be interested to see which team he goes to. But yeah, Hawkins is the guy. Like, all due respect, Wong, I think he could probably be a nice scorer at the next level. But yeah, Hawkins is a guy who I could see being 6 man and maybe a starter if he really hits. And the team fit might, you know, be part of that. But
Man,
yeah,
gotta add one more note about the 7-2 boy, man. Freshman, he plays 13 minutes a game, averages 1.8 blocks in 13 minutes.
That's pretty impressive.
That is absolutely absurd.
So you're also 7'2", man.
I'm telling you, man, like this. He's mobile, man. That's the thing. He runs really fast for a 7'2 guy, but he's built. He's ain't like a twig 7'2. 7'2", 265.
he's a big guy.
As a freshman. Oh, no. Bobo's a twig, man. That's Slender Man over there.
Yeah.
This dude's built, and he's mobile. So I'm like, dude, this kid's a freshman. He's a baby, man. Like, he's playing 13 minutes a game, obviously, with Sunogo. So his potential is not even close. And his college numbers are actually not like 7.6 rebounds in 12 minutes. Like, those are good numbers. 65, 66% from the field. And obviously, if they win a title run, like everyone's getting more glances of this kid. And scouts be like, yo, who's this little 7'2 guy?
Wait,
like,
he's only averaging 13 minutes?
13 minutes a game, man.
That coach is shrewd. He should be getting more than 13 minutes a game. That's a shrewd move by the coach.
Sunogo's
13 minutes that's not a lot.
He can only play the center position, and you have Sunogo, which is their, I would say, top 2 player who's getting all the minutes. So
I genuinely think he'll stay. I think he
probably
will for his sophomore year because Sunogo's getting all the looks for like lock of a draft pick.
Yeah,
I think he just benefits more staying one more year and being at the forefront, of that front court.
Oh, yeah. If he starts, man, his numbers are going to be nasty if he starts.
He'll be putting up 16 and 12 with 3 blocks a game. Like, that's unbelievable for a starting center in college.
And I was saying earlier, just a minute ago, about like did he have like any offensive game? But I want to say he was in an EYBL. I'm not sure whose team he was playing for, but I think it was a clip of him doing post moves, like legit post moves on like a bunch of high school kids, and LeBron was like reacting to it because he was like, yo, that's like a throwback. Like, we don't see that in AAU basketball. And I remember watching like, that kid's crazy in the post, and I think that was the kid. So if that's the case, then yeah, he might actually turn into like the
LeBron stamp
lottery pick. Yeah, he just needs the opportunity and the playing time to actually show he's got an offensive game to him. So yeah, to your point, if he does stay, he might end up being like at least a top 15, top 10. Because they were saying that would be 2024. That class is not as deep, and it's early, but I mean they're saying it's not as deep as this year's class. So he might end up being a pick that's higher. Yeah, I mean, who was it? What's the guy from? I don't know. Is it NBA Draft or
John Gavoni?
One of those.
John Gavoni.
Gavoni. Yeah. It was like, he's a 3-and-D guy that's basically improved and tall. He's taller now and he can shoot. He's like a top 10 pick. And I was like, I don't know if that's clicks or if that's legit. I mean, if Brian's 6, he would be legit. But
top 10, like him getting the 10th spot, he was like, okay, if he really thought he was 11th, come on, let's move him off the 10.
He might just be a lottery pick, actually. He might just be like back end lottery. And he's like, well, top 10 is what's going to get the click.
Oh, man.
All I'll say is, the Lakers are going to be hanging around that bottom tier of the Western Conference, man, trying to get that 10th overall pick, man.
No, they don't own it.
Well, it depends. I think this is either. I think it's
not this year.
This year's pick.
It's
they
either.
It.
No, it's about next year.
Oh, next year's pick
for Bronny.
No, I think they have the Pelicans have the option to either
swap.
The Lakers can get it this year or they could kick it to next year. So it depends on, I guess, how they finish. And the Pelicans be like, no, we want it this year. You can get next year's. Or the Pelicans say, no, you take this year. We'll take next year or the year after that, whatever. But the Lakers will get a pick either this year or next year.
The Pelicans should take it this year. The Lakers will probably be better. I don't know. We keep saying that every year.
Injuries. Their team this year, like I've always said, is for later. It's for like next. I think next year they'll be really because they're a deeper team. Which I don't understand the logic of any Laker fan that's like, yo, we need to trade for Kyrie. Like, bro, do you see what the hell is going on in Dallas right now? Have a blast with that. Have a blast if you still want Kyrie. And I'm a Kyrie guy, but man, that situation. And we're gonna be talking about the NBA very, very soon. But boy, that situation in Dallas does not look nice. It does not look nice.
They're up like 29 on the Pacers right now, man. So I'd say the Mavs are back.
I would hope so after dropping 2 to freaking the Hornets. Without Terry Rozier and LaMelo Ball, what are we doing?
I don't even know
what is going on.
Gordon Hayward, man.
Oh, he's back. Oh, Gordon Hayward, man. He's back.
He's back. Oh
Dude,
man, that
just in
is
time for
hilarious.
March, man. This is his time of year.
It is. It really is.
No,
Gordon
that
Hayward
brother
time.
never plays the.
Oh, and I wanted to do a shout out because we have not talked any March Madness on the women's side, but Caitlin Clark, bro.
Oh,
tough.
some of those
She is
threes,
tough.
man. Those are legit
Tough.
hard
Man.
threes, man. Like
Oh
I'm
my
looking
God.
at her
40
play, I'm
point
like
triple-double
40 point,
Mm.
40
And
point
Elite
triple
Eight,
double in a
in
high
men's or
leverage game.
women's.
I'm like, yo, she looks like better than every player in the WNBA right now, man.
Yeah.
Like, who does that?
Was it
I have
Ionesco?
not seen a WNBA player do that. Shoot.
Ionesco was dirty, but Caitlin Clark might be better. She might be
Brianna
better.
Stewart's
Her college
probably
numbers are absurd. 27, 8, and 8, and her shot making. Dude, she's taking like
She's a guard that can dribble, get like she does it all. She shoots, gets to the rack, fadeaways. Like she's a different cat. And she was going against like Louisville's not the greatest team, but the other girl on the side, Van Lift, like she can get buckets too. Like she's a bucket getter. And Caitlin Clark was like,
Dude,
have a blast
never
over
seen-
there, but I'm gonna do this.
40-point games in college is ridiculous. You pair that up with 12 assists and 10 rebounds as a guard.
yeah.
I don't give a damn what sport you're playing, man. That is top tier.
Who does she think she is?
Christ.
Michael Beasley? He was the only guy that was getting like double doubles, freaking 20-point double doubles.
40 point
20
triple
and 20
double,
games.
man. Oh.
Mm.
And the shot and the way she did it, man. It was the high degree of difficulty, man.
It's very Jokic of her, man.
Man, it's like Jokic and Curry, man. Like,
Yeah.
God
Well, I
damn.
will say,
She was playing. She was Steph, Jimmer Fredette style, man.
South Carolina, which is my school I graduated from, their women, I think they're about to beat Maryland. They're up 86-72 with like a minute 45. So I
should have
cannot
gone to the
wait.
game, man.
Yeah,
They're
no,
in
Greenville's
Greenville right
rocking
now.
right
Should've
now.
gone
It's
to the
rocking
game.
right now.
One of the guys I'm working with was like, "Hey, if you guys want to go to the game, it's at 7:00." I was like,
Yeah.
respectfully, I'll pass, but I'm rooting for it.
No,
No offense. Big
they
deal.
it's all good, but they're gonna match up with Iowa next. So I can't wait to see South Carolina's defense versus Iowa and Caitlin Clark, because Caitlin Clark is a bucket getter. She can get her own bucket at any point. So it's gonna be interesting. Yeah. Facts for real. So just wanted to give her a shout out because we don't talk a lot of WNBA or any type of women's sports on here, but that was just something you can listen. When you got people in the NBA, that's always the litmus test. When you got like people in the NBA who are, I mean, the superstars don't count because they kind of have a brand, but like when you see regular NBA guys talking about Caitlin Clark going for the triple double on the Elite Eight, it's like, okay, this is a huge deal. So shout out to her. Like you said, actually did a little reel on her today on the bullheaded_pod on Instagram. So you guys make sure you tune into that. On TikTok, bullheaded_864. Same type of context with a little bit of a different twist with the original sounds and things like that. You can also listen to us on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. That's where you can hear the audio, and on YouTube, Quantro Knows, you can watch the video of us on the podcast. And for me, Zoo, and P. Bush, we are out.